In this video, we're going to be building the HEXBUG Vex Robotics Scissor Lift. This is a great construction kit aimed at children 8 and up. In this video, we're going to be going through all the steps in the instructions and assembling the scissor lift. I have a separate video that reviews this construction kit, and if you're interested in that, I'll leave a link in the description for you to check that out. Now let's take a look at the box itself. It has quite a lot of detail and a lot of time was put in to pack as much information as they could into the front and back of the box. I really enjoyed just reading all the cool information that the creators of this construction kit provided. For scale, I have the soda can here just to, you can see that this box is about the size of a book. And let's go ahead and open it up and take a look at what is inside. So inside we have two bags with parts. One bag is for the parts of the scissor lift itself, and the other one is for the construction worker that also comes part of this set. Also, we have a activity workbook and a STEM flyer, along with the instructions themselves. Now, going through the instructions was straightforward, but I found a couple of parts in the instructions were not too clear about which piece to use and the orientation of the piece. But it was easy to overcome and it was an enjoyable build. Let's go ahead and open the bag with the parts and sort them into groups so it'd be easier for us to follow the instructions. Okay, let's go ahead and start with step number 1. For the parts in the first step, we would need a base plate and 2 connectors that will be holding the wheels. This is one of the steps where it was not clear which direction the connector was facing, and this is because on the instructions the black color was blending and it was not really easy to understand, but I figured it out. We need to attach the connectors for the other wheels as well. Now we take the shaft and connect it to one wheel and then put it through the connectors that we just assembled and then attach the other wheel to that shaft. To make sure that the wheels and shaft don't go anywhere, we're going to use the provided rubber shaft collar. Now we're on to step number 3, which is basically the same thing. We're using the 2 wheels, the shaft, and the rubber shaft collar. Now I make sure that I didn't push the shaft collar too far, and on one of the wheels I did, so I needed to pull out that shaft collar just a bit so the wheels could spin freely. Okay, with that done, let's go on to step number 4. For this step, I needed 2 beams and 4 standoffs to connect them to the base plate. Here it's important to put the pitch standoff into the right hole, so I am skipping one hole and then inserting it into the next. The same thing goes for the next standoff. I skip one hole and insert it into the next one. Now I just attach the beams on top of that. Now we're on step number 5. On this step, I take 2 corner connectors and insert a pitch standoff into each one of them. Now we're on to step number 6. It is basically the same step as step number 5. Next is step number 7, which is connecting the two corner connectors we just assembled to the base plate. Next, we're on to step number 8. Now, with step number 8, it was one of those steps where it wasn't clear which part to use, and in particular, which pitch standoff I should use. I went with the shorter one. And I also mentioned this in the review. I think this is not a huge problem in the instructions because this is a STEM set where we're supposed to be problem solving and it should be interesting. In this step, we're taking the two wide connectors and attaching them with the two mid-sized standoffs and putting the small standoffs on the outside. And we're doing this 2 times. And now we're on step number 9. On this step, we're attaching the connectors we just assembled to the base plate using the beams we assembled on step number 4. In this step, we're taking the double-sided corner connector and attaching 2 levers with the standoffs. Now we're on step number 11, where we assemble a guardrail for the scissor lift. In this step, we're using the triple-sided corner connector, attaching that with a standoff connector to the longer standoffs. Step number 12 is similar to step number 11. We're assembling the other side of the guardrail for the scissor lift. In step number 13, we take the guardrails we just assembled and connect them to the top plate of this scissor lift. On step number 14, we do exactly the same thing that we did on step number 7. On step number 15 and 16, we connect 2 beams to the top plate. It's interesting that step number 4 is exactly 16 and 15. I didn't really understand why they divided this into 2 steps. Now we're on to step number 17, where we slide on to the beams the 2 wide connectors. And on step number 18, we make sure that the connectors we just attached won't slide off by adding 2 standoffs. On step number 19, we assemble the ladder and attach it to the top plate. Step number 20 is one of the more challenging steps where we assemble the linkages that make the scissor lift work. Make sure to take great care and look at which direction the linkages should face. On step number 21, we attach the linkages to the base plate. On step number 22, we attach the linkages to the top plate. On step number 23, we assemble the other linkages. And on step 24, we attach the linkages to the other side of the scissor lift. And at this point, I realized I should have assembled the construction worker before beginning, so I quickly assemble the construction worker. And on step number 25, we attach the construction worker to the top plate. Alright, I hope you enjoyed following this build of the scissor lift. And if you want to get your own scissor lift, I've left a link in the description where you can get that for yourself.